Hello, everybody. This is I am Stacey Thomas with the Stacey Thomas Unrestricted Unlimited Talk Show. Once again, I'm coming to remind you, I am unrestricted unlimited, me and my guests, because we have yet to see what God has for us, and we're just excited to find out. And today, I have a beautiful young lady from Atlanta, talent development manager and author Diara Kendrich. Am I saying it correctly? Beautiful.
That is correct. Yes. Thank you.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm excited. I have a tendency to get excited about the people I interview, especially when I've already been told that they're awesome individuals. So, you ready to get this thing started?
I am. Yes, I'm ready whenever you are.
Okay. First, before I get to that awesome book that I can't get the name out of my head, Diara, tell me, what is a talent development manager?
So, a talent development manager is a manager who leads processes, programs, uh, policies, things that are related to employee development from a career perspective, a personal development perspective, and really allowing people to identify what their talents and what their strengths are through self-identification, or rather it's through discovery, through coaching. And so what I do is I focus on helping people define and redefine what their professional goals are and helping them to get to where they need to go.
Okay, so when you're the people that you're helping, should they already have an idea of what their plan is, or are you there to guide them with that too?
Actually, it's both. So there are some people who know exactly what they want to do, whether it's a short term goal or whether it's a long term goal. They know what they want to do. However, a lot of times they'll come to me and they'll ask questions on how do I get there? What do I need to do? Or they'll say, I'm doing everything possible that I know to do and it's not working. I'm not getting anywhere. So you have those individuals who know what they want, but just need some guidance along the way on how to get there. Then you have some people who don't know what they want. Rather, they're multi-talented. They have lots of different skills, lots of different talents, but they just don't know exactly what to pursue. And so I kind of help people identify, what it is that they want to focus on, and just be realistic and strategic about planning their goals.
Okay, so you're not going to run out of patience if there's someone watching and they're a bit confused. They have an idea of what they need, but they may decide they want to talk to you.
No, I like that. I like people who know what they want and who don't know what they want. I'm open to it all. I get more excited about people who actually don't know what they're doing, because that's my job, is to kind of help them. But I really kind of start with a very simple process, and I just ask them, what is it that you love to do? What are you passionate about?
Okay.
What are some things that you've done that you've been complimented on over and over again? Things that you've been recognized for, whether it's a family member, a friend, a coworker. What are some of those things? Or what are some things that you can do just naturally without even having to be taught? So we kind of start there. And then it's interesting how when they start to answer those questions, they slowly start to narrow down what it is they really want to do without me having to make any suggestions. It's really just having that listening ear and asking
Okay.
the right questions to say, okay, what do you want to do? What excites you? What could you get up to do every day and you don't even have to get paid? Right? Nobody has to pay you, but you're still excited about doing it. What is that thing? What is that thing that keeps you with a creative mind? Keep you, fresh with ideas and, things that just really kind of ignites that fire inside of you. And I think it all starts there. And then people can start to slowly find out what that thing is that they like to do. So,
Okay. You sound like a leader. You sound like a leader. Have you always known you would do this? Have you always had this characteristic about yourself?
I would say it's one of those things where I had to do some self-discovery too, because I mean, ever since I've known, even in grade school years, I've always been one of those people that the teacher will say, Diara, can you stand up and show, this person how to do this, or can you go tutor this person? So I've been placed in positions not knowing or considering myself to be a leader with the title, but just more, I found myself in places and positions where I was helping people. And it was always, something where, someone pointed me out and said, I need you to do this. I think you'll be good at this. I need you to lead this. And it can be things that I didn't even feel that I was proficient in. And they were still, picking me, whether it was a leader at my job or whether it was a professor at a school. So I found myself kind of in leadership positions and leadership roles. And I really started to like it because I started to see the change in people and the development of people, and seeing where they started to where they end up, whether they end up with me, whether it's years later, I'm seeing their progress. And to me, that's really what excites me the most, is kind of seeing people grow. And I've kind of gravitated towards that. And when I went to school, I kind of had that focus on, okay, I want to be a leader. I didn't know if it was in a company or if it was just my own starting my own business, but I knew that leadership was definitely something that I was passionate about.
Okay. Is this what your parents did they think that you would grow up and be this big time author and speaker and helping others?
My mom thought I was going to be a lawyer because she said, you just like to debate. You just like to sit there and just, every time, I'm always the devil's advocate. I'm always the one, everybody in the room can come up with something and it's a great idea. And I'm like, well, how about this? Did we ever think about this? And I tend to kind of take things for, put a twist on things or come up with new ideas. And, if I do come up with the idea, then I like to try to take lead in that. And then, for me, leadership is only effective when people want to follow you.
Okay.
It's not a thing that you do on your own. And so what I realize is that it's all about, building the relationships with people. But my mom, my dad, and family, they saw that in me at a young age. And I was only child two for 9 years. And so I have all sisters, and they're all between 13 years younger than I would say 9 to 13 years younger than me. And so just kind of leading them along the way, it was just one of those things that, my parents said, I can see you definitely, you feel like you're the one that has to kind of just take the lead on things. And I think they saw it before I actually went into leadership.
Well, I'd say you're a big blessing to those of the siblings that came under you, because they don't have to pay for you to guide them, right?
No, they don't. It's so funny. I have a sister now. She's like, I'm signing up for one of your coaching sessions. And I'm like, okay, you don't have to pay, but thank you. but yeah, it's really helpful because I have been able to kind of mentor them at different different parts of their life. One of my sisters in particular, she is just awesome. She has very multi-talented. She does hair. She's great at leadership. I mean, she just kind of does it all. And she, needs some direction on starting her own business. And I actually have had that opportunity to start a business with my husband. And now he's actually doing it full time. So I kind of got a taste of, running a business, starting a business from scratch, no money, just kind of ground up, and then building it to where it became more of like a full-time job. So now I'm kind of mentoring her on starting her own business. So it's interesting how life experiences kind of takes you in different places. I'm leading things that I never thought that I would ever be able to take the lead in. So it's interesting.
It is. So how do you, well, first let me ask this, because I like to help people promote themselves like I like to promote myself. So you and your husband have a business. Do you want to tell us about that?
Sure, I will. Yeah. So about 6 years ago, I actually started So my husband and I had some other business ideas in mind where we wanted to start a concession business. And so we drove to Alabama, and the guy that was selling some of the concession items, he was talking to my husband about some of the different products that he had. And in the background, I noticed a lemonade stand, and it had a nice umbrella, not a fully, I mean, a really nice like stand that just stood out. And I said, "Wow!" I said, "Do you use that stand?" And he said, "Absolutely." And I said, "What do you sell lemonade at festivals? What do you do?" And he said, "Yeah. During the summer, I sell lemonade, and it's very profitable, and I really enjoy it." So I love lemonade. Lemonade
Okay.
is one of my favorite drinks. So I said, "You know what?" I told my husband, I said, "We got to have that." I said, "I really want that stand." And he was like, "Well, we didn't come here for that." And I said, "Well, I want that stand. I know I can make some good lemonade and make some money." It was actually April. I want to say it was March or April. And I said, "This is the season. I can do this on the weekends, blah, blah, blah." So fast forward, I ended up getting a stand, and I tried to make lemonade in my kitchen for, I would say, I was in the kitchen for about 7 or 8 hours trying to perfect this lemonade. It really did not taste right. So I kept trying, and I got a little discouraged and said, "Forget it. I'm not doing a lemonade stand. I have a job. I'm good." And I finally perfected it after like the third day. And that excitement came back. And I said, "You know what? I already got the stand. So I need to go ahead and just, start doing festivals." So we started off doing festivals. And then that led to us doing events at corporations and colleges. And then that actually just happened in Georgia. And then it was more of an ask from the surrounding states. So we found ourselves in Florida and Alabama in the Carolinas doing events for them. And so my husband was working, and of course I'm working, and business really started to ramp up. And I would say 2 years ago, it got to the point where it was just consistent. I mean, we have a team of about 5 people who work our events when we're not able to. And it became almost, just a full-time business. It was weekends, it was weekdays, and so now my husband had to make a hard decision 2 years ago to leave his job, and he left, and he's been doing it full time ever since.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I want to know, and I keep looking away, beautiful, because I'm trying to make sure your friends can see this video. That's why
Oh,
I'm looking to the side. But you said something that I wasn't going to ask, but you brought it up. How do you start a business with no money?
so it was interesting. When I say no money, that was probably a little bit of an exaggeration, but I didn't have like thousands. I can tell you that. So
Okay.
I literally had hundreds, if
Okay.
you will. And so
Okay.
I bought the stand. And because I think people think when you start a business, you always need like a lot of money, or you need to go ahead and jump right into a small business loan. But it wasn't that case. I had just a few $100s. I bought the stand, and it cost me less than $100 to really make the lemonade, and to even get my first booking at a festival was only $40 for a vendor table. And so I did that and paid for the table right after I perfected.
Wow.
And we had to go a little
Wow. And
further
so
out.
business is good.
Yeah, exactly. And so $40 investment to have the spot, and ended up making about $600 profit from an event that took about, I think we were there for maybe about 6 hours or so. And so with that happening, that kind of motivated me to do the next one. And I
Me
realized
in
a
this
lot of
video.
these, yeah, a lot. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Stacey? You there? Okay, can you hear
I'm
me?
wondering if we losing connection.
Can you hear me?
Yes, beautiful. How about now? Can you hear
Okay.
me?
Yep. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know where we cut off, but just to let you know, like I said, I started off with very little capital, and then anytime that I made a profit, I didn't spend that. I used it on booking the next event, and then I just let it build over time. And I only use profits to put back into the business, and that's
Okay.
what kind of built up my capital to continue on being able to buy the products and things that I needed to do to have more events. So that's kind of how I continue to build the money to pursue the business longer than what I had initially planned on doing. I planned on doing it just for the summers, and then it turned into a year-long business.
Awesome. Awesome. So the books. Oh,
Yes.
so you're the talent development manager.
Yes.
You have a lemonade stand and you are an author. Wow.
Uh-huh. Yes.
I know there are three books and we're going to talk about all three. But can we start with Who Farted in the Boardroom?
Yes, absolutely. So Who Farted in the Boardroom is actually, I have the book here, as you can
Hold
probably
it up, hold
see.
it up.
Can you see it? So this is actually a book about, and it was interesting because, there's a lot of times where people in the workplace, and actually I would say probably almost every time that you work with someone, you're going to see similarities that you have with other people, but you're going to see differences in how they behave and how they achieve their goals. And I think that conflict is very healthy. Stacey,
Are you
you
back?
there?
Yeah, you disappeared for a moment. Was that me?
I don't know. The connection went dark too. I couldn't see anything. Okay. But this one is just about being able, the subtitle is How to Outscore Conflict in the Workplace. And basically, it just teaches you ways to deal with clashing personalities in the workplace so that you can continue focusing on what you need to focus on, your task at hand, and achieving your goals and achieving the common goal together, even with the person that you might have conflict with. But it's also emphasizing that conflict is very healthy, right? Because it helps you to understand the differences in how people think and how they behave, and being able to understand what you can deal with and what you can't deal with. And I think that conflict in my own personal experience has been very healthy and has produced some excellent results. And I would say if I didn't have a lot of the conflict that I've had in the workplace, then I think a lot of goals would not have been achieved. I would not have been able to really understand that it's okay to be different. It's okay to have different opinions, different ideas. It's okay for things to not go your way. You might be set on a way of doing things, and someone will come in and say, absolutely not. That's not how we're going to do it. But you don't take that as offensive. You just take it as, okay, we're going to go a different path. And just being receptive of other people's ideas as well. It's not just about you and just working as a team. But I say Who Farted in the Boardroom because typically, so if you were to really picture that happening in a boardroom, right? Nobody would probably, most people won't say anything.
Right,
Most
right.
people are going to be quiet. They're going to look around and they're going to look to the left and the right and not say anything and just move forward because it's obviously not something you want to talk about. So that's the whole message is when you have conflict, you don't look around to the left or right and don't say anything. Silence doesn't help the situation. It's about being outspoken, using your voice so that you can, impact change in the work environment. And it won't get done if there's silence. And there's a way to do that, right? So, of course,
Mhm.
some people say, okay, I use my voice all the time and I speak out. And I'm like, okay, well, do you think that it is solution oriented? When you come up with things and say, this is a problem, are you coming with a solution? Are you asking productive questions, or are you just saying it's a problem and complaining? You're right. So some people are branded as problem solvers because every time they see something going on or an issue, that may not seem right, they raise their hand, they speak up, and they offer solutions. And that's kind of what the book is focused on, is anytime you face conflict, try to work together, be open to other people's ideas, and work on the solution. Figure out how you can resolve the situation.
That sounds like something that people need to read for everyday life. I
Yes,
mean,
that's right. That's
you know,
yeah.
it's interesting. When you said that when you go with a problem, you should have a solution.
Yes, I think it's going out again. 1 second. Can you hear me?
Yes, now, yeah. So
Okay.
when people, you're saying that when someone goes to their supervisor, with the
hmm
problem, they should have a solution in mind before complaining.
I think it's helpful to have a solution in mind, but I also think that, in all cases you may not, right? But I think it's good to go in with an open mind and ask questions to help you get clarity on something that you might not be sure of. But yeah, that's my first thing, is go in with the solution in mind, or ask the right questions. Ask the questions that are going to help drive a solution. Or, if you are, or make recommendations. You can make recommendations
Mhm.
that are not necessarily the resolve to the issue, but say, how about if we do this, and consider other options? Because I think that is really a display of, being willing to work with other people, being open and to sharing your concerns, sharing your ideas, and really just being kind of like forward thinking, right? And so I think that's really, really important in the workplace and outside of the workplace.
Okay. And there are two other books, correct?
There are, yeah. My very so this was actually my second book that I wrote. The first one that I wrote is more of a journal, and it's called "I Live, I Struggle, I Win." And that one, it was very dear to my heart because the title kind of explains it. So you're in life and everything is, going, selling, and it may be going well, may not, but just say you're living, you're figuring out things in your life about yourself, about how you can continue to grow. And
Hmm.
all of a sudden, life takes a turn, and you have these struggles, whether that's, dealing with, understanding yourself, or self-awareness, not understanding what it is you want to do. We kind of talked about career development earlier. It could be related to your career, it could be related to your own personal issues that you might have. But obviously we all kind of go through a struggle at some point, in our life. And then, of course, the last part of it is "I win." And it's basically kind of giving some motivational tips on how you can win not only just, from a success perspective, but just being free in your mind, being at peace with yourself. It's definitely spiritually grounded, this entire journal. It definitely references some scriptures in the Bible, and it kind of ties you back to like where you, because really that's the starting point. That's kind of our foundation. My foundation, at least, is kind of, being a believer first, and then letting kind of God take control over my life, one, and then trusting Him through the whole process of life. And that journal is an opportunity
Wow.
for you to write down your thoughts as you go along. So it's not just reading from start to finish. You kind of read it. It's encouraged that you read it by day, like one section per day. Let it, take it all in, write your thoughts, answer some questions. And so it's a very, it's an active book, if you will.
An active book. Okay. Okay.
It's
And
gonna, yeah, you're gonna be required to take some action. You gotta write.
oh, I'm gonna have to check it out. And the third book.
The third book is, I actually have that one here too. It's called Your Customer Service Selfie. I don't know if you can see it. Your Customer
Oh,
Service
cute. Okay.
Selfie. And it's about how to manage excellent customer service, but it's not just like what people might think it is when you first read it. You think customer service, okay, be nice, be nice, give awards to customers or whatever it may be. it's more of the internal process, because what I've learned in leadership is that, especially being a leader in the customer service industry, is a lot of reasons why people can't give customer service has to do with a lot of internal things that are going on. And I realized that you can have someone who just is constantly just can't get it right with customers. They're not nice, they're snappy. And we've all experienced it in our own, just buying products from the stores or going to a restaurant. We've all experienced bad customer service. But what I've realized is that there are people who consistently can't get customer service right because internally they're not at peace with themselves. They haven't taken the measures to, find out how important it is to serve other people. And that's part of how you can become happy within yourself, is helping other people. So it's kind of taking more of a internal approach.
Okay.
So that's what I start off the book with, is what can you do internally to be able to give good customer service and be nice to people. And then I kind of transition to more of the tangible things that you can do to be nice to people.
Okay. Would you agree sometime? I know you said to think about what's going on internal, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
A lot of times when I look at people that are giving bad customer service, I figure maybe the leaders are causing the problem. So what do you suggest to those people? They read your book, they learn something, they work on themselves, but it's still someone above them that's causing such a problem. They don't feel like being nice.
Yep, exactly. And that happens a lot. I mean, a lot of people, consider themselves as having, not an effective leader, or what they call a bad manager, or whatever it may be. And that does kind of, distract you mentally. So you can't really, when you're at work, if that's happening, you can't really focus the way you want to. And so what the advice that I would give to someone who's doing that is to also look at it like this. Anytime that someone, you feel like this is a distraction, I'm at work, and you feel like, this is a problem, my leader is a problem, or whatever it may be, then you kind of have to stop and think, what is the reason why this leader might not be, kind to me, or professional, or whatever it may be. You ask that question and you try to figure out how you can be the bigger person in that situation, and try to self-solve. Rather, it's okay, I see that there is a problem, I see that something is off and I can't focus with this because of this leader. What can I do to build the relationship with my leader so that I can feel a little bit better about coming to work, a little bit better about doing my job, and much better about giving good customer service. I think that's important, to take action, because you can't wait for other people to change, especially as adults. We can't ever expect another adult to change. We have to figure out what we can do to change the situation. And so I think it's being responsible for our own actions, responsible for the results that we want, and at least trying to make an attempt. But I think a lot of people are afraid to do that, or they might feel like, oh, it might be a little confrontational, or they might feel like, oh, they're not going to receive it well if I try to build a relationship, because they're just not that type of person. But the best you can do is try to take the necessary measures and actions to make it better. That is your place, especially if it's your place of work. You spend a lot of time there. You got to find your peace. You got to find your comfort zone there. And if there's anything that's a distraction, whether it's a leader or anyone else, a coworker, it's important to just take the action and really be the bigger person.
These books, they really sound as if, whether people are just dealing with their job, I think you're doing something for everybody.
Thank you.
Can you hold them up one more time? I want to say something about them.
Okay. There's one. Okay. There we go.
Okay. From one author to another author, I love your covers. They are attention grabbers.
Thank you.
Your books, the way you've done them, they could be sitting on the shelf, and before who farted in the boardroom gets their attention just to cover themselves. They're really nice. So
Thank you.
I have one other question for you, and then I'm going to let you tell the viewers what you want them to know. My last question is, being in the business, with the business that you're offering people, for those that are at home right now, right? They've got dreams. They started doing something and then this hit and that kind of slowed them down. What would you say to those people?
So yeah, so I think that can happen to all of us. It's happened to me. And so I've actually talked to so many people where that's happened to. But so the advice that I want to give is that how the direction that our life goes in and what the outcome is going to be can still happen regardless if you've had a setback, regardless if you've had to start over. It doesn't matter. It can still happen as long as you are living and breathing today. So it's just understanding that as long as you can wake up in the morning, you have another opportunity to make a difference in the path that your life takes. So to me, it's all about mental stability, kind of getting that in your mind, because the moment that you change the way you think, that's going to change the way you behave. Our thinking and our thought process translates to our behavior. So as soon as we can start with our mind and say, okay, my dreams have been delayed, they've been on hold, or I haven't even been able to start, pursuing my dreams. It's going to take that mindset to say, okay, this is what I want and this is what I'm going to do. The next advice I would give is to write it down. I think it is so important, and I don't say that just because I write, but it's so important, even if you're not a writer, to write it down. You have to have, just like any place that you go, you need directions. You need directions. You need to know how to go to where you're going. You have to have a map, at least in your mind or wherever it is. But I think it's important to write it down, what you want, starting there, and then write down how you're going to get there. And I think it's important to know that it's perfectly fine to not know how to get there. There is a wealth of information and resources that are available, whether it's someone we know or whether it's at our fingertips on our phones. There is a lot of information. YouTube videos, there are organizations that you can join that with like-minded individuals that are sharing their stories and their testimonies and how they started and how they finished and all of that. There are lots of resources that are at your fingertips that you could use to help you identify how you're going to get there. If you need additional help, there's resources. Find a mentor, find a coach, find a counselor, someone, a trusted friend, family member, or any trusted resource to help guide you, to help motivate you, to be your accountability partner, right? Because we need accountability, whether that's self-accountability or someone else holding us accountable to what we said we wanted to do. That's very important because that's going to keep you focused on making sure that you achieve your goals. And once you know what you want to do, you've identified ways that you can get there. As long as you have that as a focus every day that you wake up, every little bit, every little thing that you do, if you can commit to doing something once a day or at minimum once a week towards that goal, you are going to be in a much better position than you were when you first started, when you first had that idea a month from now, 2 months from now, whatever it may be. And because it just grows, it builds on each other, but you have to have that as a focus. And then you'll start to see slowly you are getting closer and closer and closer to your goals. And you look back like, wow, a month ago, wow, I wasn't doing anything towards my goals. I had it in my mind, but there was nothing that I could translate to say I've actually stepped into, my vision. So I think it's important to kind of start there first and stay focused. It's a continuous process. Learning and growth is a continuous process. And as long as we continue to do that, we're going to elevate no matter what what goal you're trying to achieve.
You made me think I needed to take a pen, but I didn't want to look away from the camera. I needed to take notes. Okay, okay, sweetheart. Tell us tell us what you want us to know before you leave us, and how can we contact you and where to purchase your books?
Awesome. So one thing I just want to say, I know that as we all know, we are in unprecedented times. So there are, in the beginning, I said that I help people define and redefine their professional goals. So I think what I want everybody to know, regardless if you're in a position where you're in a career that you absolutely love, it's important to always think about growth and how you can continue to grow in that particular career so that you can, be more valuable, you can contribute more in your role. And I think it doesn't stop there just because you're already in your career. But for those who aren't in their career or looking for a job, they may be furloughed or whatever it may be, just have development in the forefront of your mind, self-development, personal development, and really start to research ways that you can continue to focus on that, because there's so much that we can be doing, especially if you're furloughed. There are so many things you could be doing to increase your presence, whether it's through digital and social platforms, updating your resume, building a development plan, perfecting your craft, taking some courses online to develop a skill. There is so much that can be happening right now. So you don't have to spend so much time in the fact that you don't have a job. Right. And so I think it's important to, no matter where you are in your career, to focus on development, because there's always room for growth. We're not perfect. We're not going to be perfect. No matter how successful we might feel we are, I will never get to that point where I feel like I'm successful. I might have achieved my goals and I might have had success with a certain thing, but there's always more that I want to learn. And we have to have that mindset that we always are. We have to be humble and we have to know the importance of continuous learning. And I think that's so important. And I am on LinkedIn. I think that's the best way to reach me, because LinkedIn is one of those platforms. It's a professional, as you all know, platform where there's just a lot of interaction. And I tend to visit LinkedIn every single day. And it actually has a link on there that tells you where my books are, which is Amazon and Barnes and Noble. So you can find the books there. And it also has another link on the LinkedIn page that takes you to my personal website page. And it shows you my social profiles from Facebook, Instagram, as well as my career coaching session page. So that's where you'll find all of the information. And you can just direct message me. That's another way to contact me as well.
Okay, and on LinkedIn, because I want to put it on the screen,
Mm-hmm.
are they gonna look up Diara?
Yep, it's under my name, Diara Kendrich. Yes.
Okay. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so we're gonna add that. Um,
Okay.
let's see. Diara, it's been nice. It really
Awesome.
has been. It's
Thank
been
you.
really nice. Next time I will, if you come back on the show when you get your next book out, or when you're
Uh-huh.
promoting an event or show maybe you may be doing, um,
Uh-huh.
I'll have my pen and paper. I'll be
Okay.
sitting there taking some notes, but I'm wishing you the very best.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem, and beautiful. If I don't see what you're doing next and you got to come back on, the door's open,
Mm-hmm.
okay?
Okay. All right.
Enjoy
I'll
your
be
day.
glad to.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching the Stacey Thomas Unrestricted Unlimited show. I really enjoyed that. I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys were motivated. Look her up on Facebook. It's Diara Kendrich. Diara Kendrich, author of Who Farted in the Boardroom. I am going to check those books out. In the meantime, please come back Monday. Come back to this page on Monday. I will have Rick Younger, who's an actor, comedian, and singer who is currently on Broadway in Mean Girls. And he was also last week seen on The Last OG. So please follow Stacey Thomas, all right? I am Stacey Thomas, Unrestricted Unlimited. And I always tell you guys, don't stress about yesterday or worry too much about tomorrow, because if you do, you just might miss living today. Have a good one.